Now the lineup for Heat 1A. U7 Thor Racing, driven by Jerry Hopp. The HOLSET Miss Madison runs under the colors of Miss U.S. Star today, with Mike Hansen at the wheel. Winston Eagle, driven by Jim Kropfeld. And the Miss Budweiser rounds out the field with Tommy Deeth at the wheel. Here comes the start, Dick.
On the inside, it's the HOLSET Miss U.S. Star. It looks like Winston Eagle in lane number 2. The Miss Budweiser is going to try to take it, and does on the starting line. Miss Budweiser is in the lead. So we'll watch closely now and see how the Miss Budweiser handles in this water for the first time in actual heat competition. We had the shootout, but that does not really count. This one does.
And this one also is the Madison format, which is 3-lap sprints. It heats 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, which means an extra 400 points is up for grabs rather than 1,200 points. If you have a perfect day, they can pick up 1,600 points. And that's important to the boat that's waiting on the shore for Heat 1B, the Circus. As we look at our leader from our backstretch camera, here comes the Miss Budweiser.
And it's important to point out also that each of the heats will only be 3 laps, so the boat that gets the first turn is going to really stand an advantage. The U6 HOLSET Miss Madison, also running under the colors of the Miss U.S. Star, now in second, and there you can see why, because Jimmy Kropfeld is signaling everything is all right above the Winston Eagle, but he is out of the race, so that part of it is not all right. But there you see the second place boat battling hard to catch up to the Miss Budweiser. Mike Hansen doing a fine job at driving, but there you can see the leader, as you just barely caught a glimpse on the left side of your screen, as the Miss Budweiser went on the inside of the Winston Eagle. So now Tommy Deeth knows for sure that part of his competition is out of the race.
It's Miss Budweiser in first. The HOLSET Miss Madison U.S. Star, looking at it right there, is second. And third is the U7 Thor at the present time.
And as we take a look again at our backstretch camera with the Miss Budweiser in the lead, we remind you that that speed of better than 158 miles an hour for qualifying here on this lake in Kansas City, Missouri. Well, you can see a 135.266 on that lap for the Miss Budweiser, but at 158, he had to be pushing over 200 miles per hour on the straightaways. Unbelievable. Third place, Thor Racing, U7. Driver is Jerry Hopp. This course looks like a very good course, and we had made a little bit of a reference earlier, Jim, to the fact that it's very much like the Madison, Indiana course. So although it's a brand new course to these drivers and they're seeing it for the first time under race conditions, in actuality it may look a little bit familiar to them.
As we look at our leader, Miss Budweiser, on the final lap, the green flag lap as they call it, Tommy Deeth shakes it loose. He's heading for 400 points, the first points drawn for the afternoon.
And of course, Miss Circus was not in this heat. She will be in the next heat, so Tommy Deeth has himself a very good advantage and has already set the mark as the checkered flag comes out. And Tom Deeth in the Miss Budweiser, driving for Bernie Little out of Lakeland, Florida, takes the first win of the day. Second place will go to the HOLSET Miss Madison. That boat driven under the colors of the Miss U.S. Star for this race in Kansas City. Mike Hansen, who is now living in Madison, Indiana, takes second place in Heat 1A.
And he'll pick up 300 points. There it is. That's the result of Heat 1A. Let's go to the docks and Steve Montgomery.
Congratulations to Heat 1A winner Tommy Deeth. You and Turbine 3 here appear to be getting along together fairly well. You liking this boat more and more?
Oh, yeah. She's running really great. The guys did a super job getting her ready, and looking forward to running the rest of the heats, gaining some more points.
Have you found the fast lane here on Longview Lake?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think this lake is pretty good anywhere around. I ran closer to the inside that time, and it wasn't all that bad.
Chances are the competition will get tougher as the day goes on.
Oh, no doubt about that, but the water conditions are just beautiful, and we're looking forward to, winning this race.
Kansas City, Missouri has not been kind to all the boats. Look at the tip of the propeller. The Thor Racing team, a broken prop, but they're not the only team with a problem.
Steve Woomer, it's kind of like having a cold when it could have been pneumonia. Not as bad as we feared.
No, the problem is relatively minor. The only problem we have, obviously, is 0 points in that heat, and we're going to have to go like heck in the next couple of heats here to get into the final.
As they continue to work on the Winston Eagle, we'll be back to Heat 1B in the HFC American Hydroplane Series from Kansas City, Missouri in just a moment.
In Kansas City, Missouri, let's go to my partner, Dick Crippen, in the pits. Dick?
This has been an interesting year of unlimited racing, but the guy who's really put a lot of interest into the finale of this year of racing is Chip Hanauer. Chip, all of a sudden the combination started coming together for you.
Did. We struggled a little bit in the first part of the year, but we won the last 2 races, and we beat the Budweiser every time we've drawn them in the last 2 races. So all of a sudden now we're back in the ballgame.
Kind of interesting, too, that the Budweiser is apparently going to switch to the new boat, and the only time that ran was in Miami, and you had good success against the new boat.
We did, but the boat, I think, is quicker, as they've demonstrated in qualifying. It qualified about 4 miles an hour faster than the boat they've been racing. The question is, how will it handle in the rough water? I don't think they know, and we certainly don't know, so that's going to be interesting.
One of the other drivers that'll compete against Chip Hanauer in this upcoming Heat 1B is George Woods, Jr.
Come race day, sometimes we forget that these drivers are concerned with other things besides racing because they're so intense when they're on the course. But George Woods, a group formed nationally, not only with unlimited hydroplanes, but with all of racing, the Drivers Against Drugs, an important asset to society.
Yeah, it's put together by the FBI and the National Child Safety Council, and several representatives from all the motorsports division are getting together, and we're talking to younger kids and telling them how bad drugs are.
A lot of people don't understand, but if you were to take drugs and go out on a course with an unlimited hydroplane, I know you as a driver would be scared to death.
Oh, yeah. Just, you know, anybody on a race course, anywhere in the world, no matter what they do, drugs just don't cut it. And definitely an unlimited hydroplane racing sport, there is no room for it.
And now as we look at the Pink Lady, the Circus with Chip Hanauer, let's check the starting lineups for Heat 1B. Cooper's Express, Mitch Evans. It'll be Mark Tate, the Rookie of the Year, and oh boy, Oberto, Jim Harvey's boat. Bill Wooster's Mr. Pringles with George Woods Jr. at the wheel. Tom Tomlinson represents Circus owner, and Chip Hanauer is the driver as they come down to the starting line.
One of the things that has to be in Chip Hanauer's mind right now is the fact that Tommy Deeth already has 400 points in his pocket from Heat 1A. He'd like to get those 400 points for Heat 1B, and he has made a very good stab at it by taking the lead right off the start line, and he's throwing a high rooster tail. The rest of the boats are playing catch-up.
You can see he has some confidence because he started in lane 3, and that's unlike Chip Hanauer. He'd like to have that inside, usually, especially when he goes against Tommy Deeth and the Miss Budweiser.
Watch the handling of the boat. Chip Hanauer felt very confident in his boat and also felt good about this course in Kansas City, Missouri. As he completes the back stretch, the boat seems to be handling beautifully for him, and he's got very, very good control. Just 3 laps to go. He's got to be topping right around 200 miles an hour or better to hold off the competition on the straightaways. Mr. Pringles is coming up in second place, 140.219 for Chip Hanauer. Very, very respectable.
And about 11 miles an hour faster than this boat. Second place, Mr. Pringles, driven by George Woods, who checks in at 129.075 on lap number 1.
George Woods looked like he might have been getting a little bit light out there. They may want to fool with the wing adjustments on that boat when he comes back in after this heat, but so far it's good enough to hold on to second place. Kind of weird as you look at the Miss Circus, you'll notice the one vertical stabilizer wing on one side is taller than the other, something they came up with that they think will work. There you get a good shot of the boat as he throws it hard into the turn, all the pressure on the skid fin on the driver's left-hand side of the boat, screen right as you look at it.
Circus leading, and Mr. Pringles is second. Oh boy, Oberto is third, and the Cooper's Express is fourth.
Interesting that Chip Hanauer dropped down only less than 2 miles an hour on that second lap. There's the oh boy Oberto, Mark Tate, who was Rookie of the Year, doing a good job at driving. As we told you earlier in the shows, this boat converted over to turbine-powered this year. They are still really feeling it out and making sure that everything is working properly. They're hoping to develop more horsepower out of it.
Circus slows down a little bit now, about 133.7 mile an hour, about 7 miles an hour slower than lap number 1.
But it's holding true that on the 3-lap races, it's awfully hard. If a boat has a good lead going into turn number 1, that boat can hold on for the rest of the race. Chip Hanauer, very good turn out there, a little buffeting, but very little. He's now coming around and looking up to the starter's tower to see if he sees that checkered flag, which will signal not only the win for the race, but 400 points points in the pocket, and that's really what he's looking at. He gets the 400 points. So on the day, the Miss Budweiser and the Miss Circus have evened up, and right in the battle is the GIF Presents Mr. Pringles with George Woods Jr. Third place goes out to Mark Tate in the Oh Boy Oberto.
It looked like pretty easy wire to wire.
Yeah, easy for you to say. It was not too bad. We expected to get more of a run from the Pringles than we did, but yeah, it was relatively easy.
You want to draw the Miss Budweiser because you're only 573 points behind. You have to draw him head-to-head. You didn't do it this first round.
Right. Not only do we have to draw them, but then we have to beat them. That's tougher than drawing them. So
the hope we have is facing him.
If we don't face them and try and race them, then we have no chance. So we either, draw them and take our best shot, and if we lose, we lose. If we win, we'll be happy.